Hey everybody! Thank you for joining me today. So, today's challenge, I'm doing a sketch from, I think it was the first weekend in November. In the Scrapbooking with Me boutique, we have a sketch challenge, and this was the sketch that we were doing. I got it from Pinterest, and so it inspired me to create using the Hip Kit Club. I just grabbed some solid cardstock from my stash, and I'm just kind of spreading out, trying to create like a little area where I'm going to build up the center image. So instead of, I could have used like a piece of paper and cut it down and put it in the center, but I wanted to get a little messy. So once the gesso dries, I'm going to grab these four distress inks, which are Peacock Feather, Faded Jeans, Sealess Preserves, and Wilted Violet. And I'm just heating the paper to make sure that all the areas are dry because this is just regular cardstock, so I don't want to over wet it and cause more problems. So once I did that with the heat tool, I'm just grabbing some clear plastic and I'm going to start laying down my colors. Now the best part about distress oxides are when you're doing techniques like this with laying it down with the packaging, or even if you're just putting it down like watercolor, the key is to dry in between your layers of colors, because what it does is it allows the color you put down first to still kind of peek through in areas as you add on other colors, and it stops it from becoming a muddy mess. So colors that you could or would normally put together and say you would create browns or like the muddy tones, you won't have that same effect because you're drying each of these in between. I hope that makes sense. So the first one I did that was the peacock feathers, and then I went to wilted violet, and then seedless preserves. So you have one that's more on the pink side and one that's more on the true purple side. And I like that, the colors, because the photo that we're using, or I'm using in this, is this peacock right here that I also got from Pinterest. And we're just going to keep layering the colors. Now this blue, I chose Faded Jeans because of the colors in the paper that we're going to be using. I wanted to tie in the colors from the paper and still have the vibrant colors that are going to help tie into the peacock, the photo that I'm using. So in between, once again, trying to heat certain areas with the heat tool, and then dry, let that dry, and we'll be able to build up our pieces from there. Now, I've recently, I would say this past year, found out about the Hip Kit Club, and I'm going to link to the lady who I found and who's been inspiring me, which is Missy, I want to say it's Missy Wyden. I will have a link to her channel down below. And I'm still figuring things out for myself, but I'm trying to do new things. Like she likes to use tissue paper behind her photos sometimes, and then she does a lot of the mixed media stuff. So the Hip Kit Club comes in this really pretty tissue paper. And so I decided, I was like, well, it's got blue and it's this blue that was in the photo. So I just used a little bit of the tissue paper that it was sent in. And then I created these layers behind the photo. So while my paper is drying, I'm just getting my foam, my fun foam set up so that way it's ready to go and attach to the page itself. Okay. And then in the paper selections that they had, there was a page that had the octagon. Is it hexagon? Hexagon? Hexagon. I cracked myself up. Jesus. Okay. So they had all the pre-shades. Here it is. So I just cut out the colors that I wanted. Um, but I did add a little hint of orange, even though it has nothing to do with the photo itself. I just wanted the color to, just be like an enhancement, I guess. And it allows everything to work well with the photo that I'm using. Not that it coincides or it makes sense, but I liked how it turns out. So, just like with most patterns that I do have a tendency to kind of lay it out so I can see how it looks. And once I have stuff kind of put out or laid on the pattern itself, I do take a picture of it with my phone, and then that allows me to be able to see what I like initially came up with. This was still different from my initial setup, but what I decided to do was I glued down a couple of them, the ones that go underneath, and then it helped me build out from there. And then some of the flower ones I actually put on foam. So some of the hexagons we I have kind of sitting up. So once everything was done, I grabbed a couple of stickers from the sticker sheet, the wooden pieces from the kit, and the word lovely. And then I just took some flowers I had in my stash and finished out the layout here. And to complete it, you can see we're using the splatters. Now, what I did use, which I think is coming up next, I have an Kaiser Craft Antique Gold spray, and I liked it because it still had sort of like, because it's dark, it has almost a black quality to it, but when it dries it has a really nice shimmer. And I just think it, for me, the splatters always seem to close out a project for me. It's sort of like it's like, okay, now it's done. A couple of years ago it was sequins, everything had to have sequins on it. Now I'm in a splattering mood, and sometimes I feel like it's not done until it's splattered. But I'm just gonna let the photos and the close-ups of the different pieces go through. As I do that, like I said, I will have links to Missy's YouTube channel. I hope you guys enjoy it, and she's part of the Hip Kit Club design team, so she shows a lot more of the products. I just started getting the main kit through them, and I really did enjoy using the products. And I like how they put their kits together. You get words or alphas, you get the paper, and then you also get a few embellishments. So this is really neat. Okay, so thank you guys for joining me today. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and share button. And at the very end here, you're going to see links to previous videos. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you have a great day.